to use this analogy to explain what means a new technology. Suppose you are the inventor of a paper boat. You, for the first time, you invented a paper boat, and you put the boat on the water, right? And you say, and you are so happy, and you jump very happy, and you say, I invented a paper boat. And everyone looks at that and say, this guy's nuts, is crazy. What a paper boat will do. You're crazy, man. This serves just for ants.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a person that has no scientific view on the future, on the principles of nature. And then all of a sudden, some years ahead, you see that paper boat turned into a huge transatlantic ship. Isn't it? Bringing tons and tons and tons of China products invading your country. And then you get to know what that invention meant. You say, if I could kill that bastard. That's why once I saw in Sterling's lecture, I liked one of the slides they put, quoting Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer said, when a new invention comes up, first, it is ridicularized. Second, it is attacked. And third, it is accepted as granted, as if everyone knew. Who doesn't know? Who doesn't know what transatlantic could be done like that, you know? So we are at the very first moment here. I am presenting to you a paper boat, right? But it's becoming a transatlantic very fast. And the ones who want to jump into this boat, they are welcome. You know, because we will not come from China invading your country, but we will come from our country to the stars. That's the analogy I would like to make. This ship, this technology, will really take us to the stars. And then I want to tell you why. Because it is based on a completely new and revolutionary science created by Dr. Norberto Keppe. But of course I know there are many people in the world trying to discover the secrets of free energy, and I know there are many individual researchers who have made great progresses alone in the experimental field. Experimental field, yes, because these phenomena, they present all over, they are all over nature. And as we have psychic phenomena, some scientists, they are really intuitive, and they can open up sometimes doors of nature and see phenomena, but they do not know how to explain, because they do not have a trilogical basis, I would say. That's why some technologies, they seem to be very promising in the beginning, but they end up to be like a problem for mankind. Isn't it? Like this cell phone technology of electromagnetic waves, they seem to be, I watched a program on TV by Nat Geo. They quoted the 100 most incredible inventions in the world, and they said the first one, they said, was the smartphone. And I say, okay, it can be smart for you or smart for the power, right? Because if they keep you alienated the entire time looking at a thing, that making intrigues or chatting in the internet, things that are worthless, useless, then they is smart for them, but not smart for us. Depending on what you do with that, you know. So if you do not have consciousness of what you do with the technology, you can use that technology to destroy civilization, right? I hope this will not and will never be this kind of technology, because it has a trilogical basis in the very beginning. And I say, as in my old lecture, my last lecture, I said that the main problem in physics is that physics sees energy coming from matter. So we tend to see the magnets as the creators of the force we call magnetism, right? We believe the magnets create the magnetism. That's actually the real theory in physics. But Dr. Keppe, Disinverted Physics, shows us that magnet is simply a piece of matter that captures, like an antenna, this energy from the environment, which is magnetic, all over is magnetic, and retransmits it in a form of magnetism we know. If you think like that, and if you use it for a motor, you will try to use the magnetism not as a creator of energy, but as an antenna to capture energy from space. That's essentially what happens to this technology. And many strange phenomena, or transitional phenomena from this conventional technology to the pure free energy technology that will take us to the stars are presented here. And I will show you by comparisons. Because when you take a fan, for example, using a motor of a conventional technology, all the science, conventional science, was applied to it. It was applied to this. So that's the maximum you can have according to the conventional. But when you come with a new technology, you do the same as this conventional technology does, but with huge advantages, with more advantages, right? So, how does the Keppe motor work? I and Roberto, we were together since the beginning with all of that. Roberto, before we got together to make this technology, he was in his lab doing some kind of very weird generators. So weird. And then I said, why don't you come up and we join and we try to do something together for humanity? Okay, he was trying to. So we joined and we did this. This was our first prototype, you know. It was very criticized in the beginning, and I say the first law of Schopenhauer happened already. We are in the second, in the end of the second. People are stopping to attack and accept it as normal. But what happens here? Can you just... This is a magnet, north and south, a magnet. And here we have a coil. But this coil is covered. Unfortunately, it's covered with electrical tape. This coil. In physics, we know. In physics, we know that whenever I apply energy to a coil, I create a magnetic field inside the coil, right? But the coil will create a magnetic field. The magnet inside will try to align with the magnetic field of the coil. It will align and stop. It will stop there. But when the magnet is turning to align with the field of the coil, what happens? The rotor, the shaft connected to the rotor will also spin. But in the shaft, in a specific position of the shaft, I have a magnet glued here. This little piece. Here is a magnet. When the magnet turns, it shuts off this green switch. And this green switch will switch and receive a pulse of energy from the battery. When the pulse of energy is done, the rotor spins and clicks off. And then the switch turns off. When it's off, the magnet will go freely until the next situation it shuts again. This is the pulse. Like a heart. Many people that left in the beginning, they said, well, this motor is not energized the whole cycle of the rotor, right? So it has no torque, has no power. This is just a toy. it will work for nothing. Ah, but this is the trick. It's using the principle of resonance. Do you see? When you apply pulses to an oscillatory or rotatory system, if you apply the right pulse at the right length in a right period, the shaft will enter, the rotor will enter in a resonance. What is resonance in physics? Resonance is the state of an oscillatory system or rotatory system in which input is minimum input, and maximum what? Output. You have maximum output and minimum input. It's like a swing. I'm pushing a child on a swing. There is a certain time. In the beginning, I make more force. In the end, I just do like click, 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 and the child goes there far away, and the oscillation of the system is maximum to a minimum input. This is high efficiency. Efficiency is the quantity of input by the quantity of output I have. It's the division. So this system here looks for the highest efficient possible for the parameters that I use to build the motor. So always the Keppe motor will reach the maximum efficiency given these parameters. Do you understand? It's always search for the maximum. So it's like a living being, because when Dr. Keppe says the laws of physics are the same as the laws of biology and are the same as the laws of psychology, it means in all of these fields I have to apply the law of resonance to be efficient. That's why when you go to the Bible and you say, for example, you quote like phrases from Christ, from Jesus Christ, you see, he used to say very little things and he meant the maximum possible. There is no such thing you could use to give the more consciousness that he did. For example, when they arrested him, and when, I don't know if it was Pilate that said to him, so you are the Son of God. You know what he said?
It is you who said I am.
You said it. Isn't it efficiency to tell the truth? Isn't it the highest efficient possible? He didn't make a speech to say, look, I can do this, I can do that, He was efficient. Yeah. Stay where you are. Be efficient. So you say all the laws of nature. For example, if you throw a stone to the sky, the stone will never do a path like that, trying to find the best way to fall down. It will be efficient. Will go to the floor efficiently. So everything is resonance. Everything is resonance. When you enter into a sauna, your heart will reach a certain beat to keep your system, your body, in a minimal expenditure of energy. You know? So this motor works like this. Let's put it into practice. I would like you to pay attention to this phenomenon. There are many other phenomena that come into the package. Look, it seems to work nice, right? It's very nice. But there is one extra phenomenon that takes place, which is this. This is a lamp that only lights up above 60 volts. 60 volts. And this battery is 9. Okay, so when I turn it on, you see, it's lighting up. What does that mean? This motor is not only a motor, but it's a generator. And when it is a generator, besides the fact that it is resonant, it works with the highest efficient possible, it is producing something else, but not producing, it's capturing some energy, extra energy. Because this is 60 and this is 9. You know? It is filtering this energy from the battery and using it to capture it more and throw it into the lamp. But now I ask you, what can I do with this extra energy?
Isn't that a transformer effect?
It is a transformer, But if you reach over unity, it's more than a transformer.
But energy is volts times amps.
Yeah, I see, it's power. But if you reach over unity, the point I would like to say later, it has to be.
You can put it back in pulse.
Yeah, you could put it back to the system. Yeah, you can use it as an open system, and you can use it as a closed system to put it back in separate coils. So there is Jorge Duarte, one engineer, that came to measure the motor, and he also noticed that the moment when this key is open, for example, look at this, the light doesn't turn on when I close the key on. It's not when I close, but it's when I open it all. When I open. So it means it opens, it lights up because of the collapse of the magnetic field. The magnetic field is collapsing. When it collapses, like you take a stone and you throw on a glass door. Blah! The impact creates this. This impact can be used to reinforce even more the efficiency of the motor. And this can be used in higher scale, more scale. Okay?
It's called regenerative
energy. Yeah.
Is it quite similar to the hydraulic leader, you know, from the pump which gave up the water in the house of Fairview?
Yeah, we call it Carneiro pump here in Brazil, yes.
I think it's the same effect.
The same effect, but it's an electromagnetic effect.
Pessoal, os brasileiros não estão conseguindo ouvir a tradução e as perguntas. Porque não tem microfone.
Não, é só a pergunta fazendo o microfone. The question needs to be on the microphone, so we can translate.
Okay. Okay. This is the principle of it. What can you do? What can you do with this? The Keppe motor has many advantages. For example, it doesn't have iron around the rotor. If you take, for example, a conventional motor, look, this is an example of a conventional fan motor. It's really complicated. I doubt if you can do that by hand. It has to be by robots, by machines, you know. It's heavy, it's complicated, it's expensive. Not expensive now in the hands of the Chinese, but if you now you pay attention to this. This is the Keppe motor. Equivalent to that is a piece of plastic, and you just wind some coil around, and you can have the same effect. This is the motor ready. This motor here will turn this fan, can turn this fan, and many others. 20, 30, 40, 50 centimeter fan, exhausters for kitchens, for bathrooms, change speed, the way the conventional doesn't change. You know, there are many advantages in this system, and it's much more economic. So now I'll tell you how we could use this energy here in a bigger equipment. This, for example, is a fan. I will turn it on, okay? I will put it in the 22 volts. Let's see, 1500 RPM. It's a little bit. 1500. This is the speed of a conventional fan of this size, okay? This is the speed. Can you feel it? Yes. It's consuming 24 volts times 0.46. Let's say 0.5 times this 12 volts, 12 watt. 12 watt consumption. We are speaking about 12 watt against 45 of a conventional. 45 watt, more or less. So it's 3 times less. 3 to 4 times, 3.5 times less. But also, notice this. Now I'll make an experiment with you. The conventional motor cannot increase speed, and this can. Look now how strong it is. This is equivalent of a 70 watt motor. The same motor did that. So it's stronger, it's more powerful, and can even go more. But here, that's the limit of the device. So let's make an experiment now. That is this. I'll turn this on to 30 here. 30. 30 times 0.6 is 18. This is consuming 18 watt now. These lamps are attached not to the grid, but they are attached to the motor. The motor is producing energy for this here. This is 2 watt, and this other 2 watts. So 2 plus 2 are 4. When I turn on, you should expect this number to jump from 18 to 22. 18 plus 4. Look what happens. It didn't change speed, turned on the lights, and the consumption is exactly the same. So it's a free energy load. We are using it as an open system that could be turned on, turned back to the same motor indefinitely. Because if you have many magnets in the rotary, this phenomenon can be amplified arithmetically, you know, and you just turn back to the motor. Okay, I'll turn off. And remember, not only the motor is running in resonance, becoming more efficient, but it gives you extra energy. This is something very, very useful for future applications. Suppose if you have a pump, a water pump in the field, you have the light of the house for free, isn't it? At least you can turn on the light and check whatever you want is for free. Right? And now I will show the same motor applied to a much stronger device, just for you to compare the quantity of energy it can save in a fan like this, 50 centimeters. But I tell you, we are in the process of getting into the transatlantic. Now this is a kayak. This is the paper boat. This is the kayak. Right? And so here, I want to know if you can see this number. Can you see this number? 2. Number 2. Everyone can see. Number 2 here. This is the consumption of the device I put in it. It measures the power the motor is consuming. So I put this white one, which means that fan is a conventional fan. I'll turn it on. It is appropriate for 127 volts. Here is the voltage. I will put it in 127 volts. I left it on. I start to spin now at 27. I will put 127. Está em 70 desigual. Eu não mudou em nada, não é? Okay, no, 70. No, it's alright. It's alright. Oh, 127 is the nominal. It should work at 127 here. Okay, it's consuming 207 watts, right? 207 watts. And to tell you how much this blade is spinning, well, how fast it is. Well, 1580, 1590, 1585, 1590. Okay, 1590 RPM. So I'll turn it off. And I will put this. Of course, I will turn.
Now this is the Keppe motor?
The Keppe motor you see is the same blade. The only difference is the color.
But this black is the
this black is the Keppe motor. Okay? Do you see? Can you see the blade is exactly, this is the same model, everything.
Mas qual que era a velocidade do convencional?
1590.
Obrigado.
So I turn on this Keppe motor, and I'll put it to 1590. 1490, né? 1490. Quanto que eu falei? 1590, sorry. 1590. Okay. That's it, 1590. 118 volts, look how much it's consuming. 68 against 207. You are talking roughly about 210 plus minus 70, 140. 140 watts less to do the same work, to do the same thing. So every 7 or 8 of those devices you save 1 kilowatt energy. Plus this phenomenon that you can use, we didn't use it, but we can use this for free too, you know? That's what we are talking about. And some people said to me, okay, but the Keppe motor doesn't have the strong start. And Keppe motor cannot have maintenance of torque. So we developed these experiments to show this is not true. Okay? Look how interesting it is. Pode segurar aqui. This is a conventional fan, okay? This is a conventional fan. Well, you see how slow it is going. It cannot compete. This has power. If you put the power, if I put in the first speed, for example, I'll show you this experiment. Look at what takes place here. It reverted the speed of the other. I will show you now. It reverted. But now you say, put the Keppe motor in low speed and let this be fast. Look at what I will do now. Look at what I will do now. Now I want to see it. Hey, go faster, put in the maximum. I want the maximum. Okay? Here. Oh. Very little. With how many watts I have there? 9? Multiply. How many watts there are here? Please do the count. Oh, I can't see.
9 times 0.3 is about
2.7 watt. It is resisting the other with just 2.7 watt. But now look. It diminishes the speed of the other. Okay? But if I turn to the one, the speed 1, look. The other can't resist. You see, it's turning on the contrary. So now, pay attention to this. I'll turn off here. Okay? I'll put in a maximum. Do you want to know if the Keppe motor has start? A strong start? It's here.
yeah.
Let's get a very high speed. Did you see?
Yeah.
It's immediate.
Yeah.
It has torque to start torque and maintenance of torque. So this motor is very much superior to this conventional technology. So
That shows that the torque is stronger than the other.
yes, it shows it has immediate torque. Because some people said a pulse motor will never have torque, will never have start. This is not true. It's a lie. This is what I wanted to. Okay? So now Gilbert would like to say something about our project, Gilbert. This is a demonstration of the technology we have there in the afternoon. We have some other motors that are not kayaks, but they are like, what I would say, a yacht. A yacht, a little yacht. You see those little yachts there? and we are moving fast forward.
Microphone.
Your question was amazing. How many modes we can put together?
For making resonance.
As many as you want, as you have. Let me share, he reminds me one thing. Look how interesting this phenomenon is. I turn on here.
Does this multiply the efficiency?
Huh?
Does this multiply the efficiency the same way?
Repeat what he's asking.
No. Multiply efficiency through induction? No. This doesn't happen.
Repeat your
I
question.
asked if there is a multiplying effect in putting more motors in resonance.
This, in fact, I never tried to do many. I never tried. Why not? We were concentrated in industrial prototypes. That's why we need to make a laboratory. We have to stop, go to industry to get financing, because as you should know, or you know, we get no support for it from anyone. This has been a huge problem. We show that to the government wants to take control of the patent. It's a big problem. Yes?
How does the Keppe motor affect the energy of a person when the motor is playing, is on around people? How does that, people talk about the effect of electrical lines and devices. How does the Keppe motor affect our personal energy?
Yeah, you know, since the 90s there is a field of science called magnetotherapy. Magnetotherapy has gotten a lot of strength because the scientists are becoming more and more conscious about the healing properties of magnetism. Not only Mesmer, this started with Anton Mesmer far way back. But there are congresses today speaking about the effects of magnetism, the beneficial effects.
There's a market in the States for golfers to wear these magnetic bracelets.
Bracelets, so they can get energized.
Yes.
We noticed that when you have a static magnet, you have one effect. But when you have a rotatory magnet, the magnet spins, the effect is much stronger because you use the two polarities, north and south. The field that studies this can also be called radionics. There is a measure in radionics called Bovis unit. Bovis unit is the inverse of angstrom, wavelength. It's a frequency. The higher the Bovis unit, microvibration, the higher, the more beneficial to the body it is. This scale goes to 0 to 30,000. Yes?
I've heard about Bovis units in water quality. For instance, in healing water, the higher the Bovis quality, the higher the healing effect.
Yes.
Is it available with your magnets too?
This was very appropriate what you said. I was exactly going to say that the healing properties of blessed water. For example, if you go to the fountain of Lourdes in France, if you go there, you see many people that put their pictures and they thank God because of the blessing they received drinking that water. Some people, they get cured immediately when they come out of that place, just drinking water. And we analyzed the water from Lourdes spring, and it goes up to 27,000 Bovis units. 27, keep this number in mind. When we get the water from the park, or a regular water coming from the spring, it measures 6,500. About 6,500, 7,000. The body, our human body, healthy body, goes from 6 to 10. 6 to 10. This is a healthy body. When you get cancer, when you are at the point to get cancer or a disease, a lethal disease, your body is in 4.5 of energy. You can expect to have a little disease at 4.5. So you have to keep looking. Your body cannot go down than this. If you apply a glass of water, the water to a glass of water, 6.5 thousand. You put it here and you leave it for 3 hours. This 6.5 goes up to 10,000. If you leave it for 6 hours, it goes to 13,000. And if you leave the whole day, 24 hours, it goes to 24,000. Of course, there is something we have to say. The healing process depends also on the belief of the person. Of course, a person goes to Lourdes, really believes, he connects to the higher entities, spiritual entities, and receive that blessing. It's like the host, when they get communion, and they say it's the body of Christ. It's a kind of resonance. You believe in that, and then you receive the energy of God. And so you have to have your participant. You must be participant in this process. By the way, one of the things that quantum physics is right is that they say we are participants in reality. We have to be participants. Yes?
Yeah, they may be limited in what they can say about the health benefits of a Keppe fan, but I'm not, as a user. I took a Keppe fan home with me the last time that I was here. And my son, for whatever reason, from the time he was a little boy, likes to have fans by his bed. But he also has migraine headaches, very bad migraine headaches. And he gets like twice a month, so bad migraine headache that he's unfunctional. He has to stay in bed all day. And it's like 2 to 3 times a week he'll get a migraine. Well, ever since we've had the Keppe motor fan by his bed, you know, he sleeps with the fan on, the migraines have pretty much gone away. Once in a while, he'll forget to turn it on and he'll get a little migraine. And once in a while, even with the fan, he'll have a little migraine. But he has not been incapacitated since we've had the Keppe motor in our home. So, a little anecdotal story of myself.
Yes, a personal.
Which is the opposite of most modalities. A cell phone causes cancer. The AC power going through your house is not good for you. This seems to have the opposite effect. It's good for you as opposed to being detrimental to your health. That's me, not as a Keppe motor representative, but as a consumer.
Thank you very much. So we tried once here to make a DNA motor to sell these things. But we have our FDA here too, and it's called Anvisa. It's like a Gestapo-like agency, you know? Gestapo-like agency. They didn't allow us to do that.
So, can the Keppe motor be replicated on an economy of scale? So, if you had the industrial capacity, could you build a huge one and make the motor generate energy for a building, let's say, heat for a building?
Yeah. What we notice is this. The Keppe motor works as a generator, the same efficiency as a motor. It is a motor and generator. If it's 98% efficient as a motor, it will be 98% efficiency as a generator. But we still didn't play much with this extra energy. So now imagine if you have a 98% efficiency motor with this extra energy, of course you are more than 100. And then when we have technology enough to harness this, it will surpass 100, then we will have the free energy pure device to build up, to feed all the houses, and yes. The answer is it's a matter of time.
Now there's some people on the planet who have lots of money and who think properly, who want to serve humanity. In other words, they have made a lot of money and they want to give that back. Have you been able to identify people or agencies?
Where are they? No, please show us one.
I think it's a mistake. It's a mistake to think that there are not people out there who are generous. Their hearts are right.
They are, yes.
But maybe they have so many people trying to get help that the filter. So they're filtering and filtering and filtering, and they're doing it on a small scale. But there are human beings out there that are willing to help and willing to give.
Yes. There's something you may be familiar with called cloud funding.
Crowdfunding.
Yes. Instead of going to a foundation or the government or a philanthropist to get money, like Bill Gates, he's running around vaccinating people, right? Instead of doing it that way, we have socially conscious people on the planet. So we invert the process, or disinvert the process. You go to, let's say, 100 people who want to give $1,000 to interesting projects that serve humanity. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, we were working on it before coming here, but we did not have enough time. So just remember this, I said, it's called crowdfunding, and I can talk to you more about it later. But I did want to ask another question. Is it possible you can tell us the relationship between what you're doing with the Keppe motor and what Tesla was doing with the free electrical energy? Is there any relationship between the two?
But yes, there is a relation, but this relation is never said in lectures I see, because it seems the heating work of Tesla is not outspoken. Tesla worked, the best days of his life was the 10 last days, and no one knows exactly what he did in these 10 last days. Philadelphia project was just one of them, and he refused to take this Philadelphia one because he knew it was going to cause a lot of trouble. He couldn't control the whole system. But one thing that I know about Tesla is that he used that tower. He built out the Wardenclyffe Tower. It's a huge tower that's used as a capacitor with the Earth. But what the people don't say is that he used the resonances, the electric resonances of the Earth, which I say is magnetic pulses, to transmit his energy using the medium of the Earth. It was not through the air, it was through the Earth. You see, then you have the conductor. The conductor is the Earth. That's what he did. And he used pulses. When he used the pulses, this pulses was in resonance. And he could transmit pulses to the other side of the planet and back to him with no loss. Very little loss. And he used the planet as a huge amplifier. That was his technology. You know, and the Keppe motor uses magnetism, pulses, and resonance. We are in the same mode of technology. We are actually discovering that. There are some scientists together at that time. They were doing this kind of research, trying to get energy outside matter, and they were getting huge accomplishments. The problem was always the same. The Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the J.P. Morgans, and these guys.
It's called capitalism.
They control the whole thing and they kill them at the root. You know, but one thing they didn't have this trilogical philosophy of unification. Only with this philosophy we can really bring this technology with consciousness to the people. Because if there is no consciousness, it's like you're having something to have power, to dominate over the others. And this is better not to have. Or we have with consciousness, or
the pathology of power, the liberation.
Pathology of power. This is the main thing we have to address now. The main thing, yeah.
We're in the hotel that the Keppe Motor Group purchased 10 years ago and remodeled or rejuvenated.
Right. I hope this will not and will never be this kind of technology because it has a trilogical basis in the very beginning. And I say, as in my old lecture, my last lecture, I said the main problem in physics is that physics sees energy coming from matter. So we tend to see the magnets as the creators of the force we call magnetism, right? We believe the magnets create the magnetism. That's actually the real theory in physics. But Dr. Keppe, Disinverted Physics, shows us that magnet is simply a piece of matter that captures, like an antenna, this energy from the environment, which is magnetic, all over is magnetic, and retransmits it in a form of magnetism we know. If you think like that, and if you use it for a motor, because they do not have a trilogical basis, I would say. That's why some technologies, they seem to be very promising in the beginning, but they end up to be like a problem for mankind. Isn't it? Like this cell phone technology of electromagnetic waves, they seem to be, I watched a program on TV by Nat Geo. They quoted the 100 most incredible inventions in the world, and they said the first one, they said, was the smartphone. And I say, okay, it can be smart for you or smart for the power, right? Because if they keep you alienated the entire time looking at a thing, making intrigues or chatting in the internet, things that are worthless, useless, then they is smart for them, but not smart for us, depending on what you do with that. You know? So if you do not have consciousness of what you do with the technology, you can use that technology to destroy civilization. Isn't it? Bringing tons and tons and tons of China products invading your country. And then you get to know what that invention meant. You say, if I could kill that bastard. That's why once I saw in Sterling's lecture, I liked one of the slides they put, quoting Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer said, when a new invention comes up, first, it is ridicularized. Second, it is attacked. And third, it is accepted as granted, as if everyone knew. Who doesn't know? Who doesn't know what transatlantic could be done like that, you know? So we are at the very first moment here. I am presenting to you a paper boat, right? But it's becoming a transatlantic very fast. And the ones who want to jump into this boat, they are welcome. You know, because we will not come from China invading your country, but we will come from our country to the stars. That's the analogy I would like to make. This ship, this technology, will really take us to the stars. And then I want to tell you why. Because it is based on a completely new and revolutionary science created by Dr. Norberto Keppe. But of course I know there are many people in the world trying to discover the secrets of free energy, and I know there are many individual researchers who have made great progresses alone in the experimental field. Experimental field, yes, because these phenomena, they present all over, they are all over nature. And as we have psychic phenomena, some scientists, they are really intuitive, and they can open up sometimes doors of nature and see phenomena, but they do not know how to explain. To use this analogy to explain what means a new technology. Suppose you are the inventor of a paper boat. You, for the first time, you invented a paper boat, and you put the boat on the water, right? And you say, and you are so happy, and you jump very happy, and you say, I invented a paper boat. And everyone looks at that and say, this guy is nuts, he's crazy. What a paper boat will do. You're crazy, man. This serves just for ants.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a person that has no scientific view on the future, on the principles of nature. And then all of a sudden, some years ahead, you see that paper boat turned into a huge transatlantic ship.
Ah.